So, when you hear the letters HIV, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a long, long time, that one word was just surrounded by fear and a ton of misinformation. But over the last 40 years or so, science has completely flipped the script. So today, let's get into the modern reality of HIV.
I really wanted to start with this quote because it just perfectly nails the new reality. This one sentence completely dismantles that old, outdated narrative of HIV being a death sentence. It's such a powerful statement about the incredible progress we've made. So how on earth did we get here?
All right, first things first, let's break down the fundamentals of what the virus is actually doing inside the human body.
Okay, right off the bat, we've got to clear something up. People often use HIV and AIDS interchangeably, but they are not the same thing. HIV is the virus. AIDS, on the other hand, isn't a virus at all. It's a syndrome. It's what can happen in the late stages of an untreated HIV infection, when the immune system is really struggling. That distinction is absolutely critical.
So, how does HIV cause all this damage? Well, think of your immune system like a sophisticated army. The CD4 plus T cells, they're the generals, the commanders calling all the shots. Now, HIV is this incredibly sneaky invader. It doesn't bother with the foot soldiers. No, it goes right for the command center, taking out those general T cells one by one.
So without any medical help, the infection usually follows a predictable path. First, there's a short period right after exposure that can feel a lot like the flu. After that, it can go into a long, quiet stage, we're talking years, where the person feels totally fine, but the whole time, the virus is still active. And finally, if it's still left untreated, the immune system gets so weak that it progresses to AIDS, making the body vulnerable to all sorts of other infections.
And this, right here, really puts the stakes into perspective. Without treatment, the average survival time from infection is around 11 years. But with treatment, a person can expect to live a full, nearly standard lifespan. This is, without a doubt, one of the most incredible success stories in the history of medicine.
Okay, let's talk about transmission. This is an area where a lot of the fear and stigma comes from, so getting the facts straight is, well, it's everything.
So when you look at the actual data, you see that the risk changes dramatically depending on the activity. A contaminated blood transfusion, for example, is extremely high risk. But for sexual contact, the per-act risk is statistically much, much lower, even though it is the most common way it's transmitted worldwide. The big takeaway here is that risk is not a simple, one-size-fits-all thing.
And you know what's just as important? Knowing how HIV is not spread. You cannot get it from casual contact. We're talking hugging, sharing a glass, or from a toilet seat. It's not in saliva, sweat, or tears. And no, you can't get it from a mosquito. These facts are so important for dismantling the stigma that has caused so much unnecessary pain for decades.
So how do we stop it? Well, today we have this amazing toolkit. It includes things like consistent condom use and powerful medications like PrEP, that's a pill you can take beforehand to prevent infection, and PEP, which can stop an infection right after a possible exposure. And as we're about to see, one of the most powerful prevention tools we have is actually treatment itself.
And that brings us to what is, honestly, the single biggest game changer in the modern understanding of HIV. It's a concept so revolutionary, it's simply known as U equals U.
The standard treatment for HIV is called antiretroviral therapy, or ART for short. It's basically a cocktail of medications that works by stopping the virus from making copies of itself. This brings down the amount of HIV in the body, what's known as the viral load.
Now, when ART works really well, it can push that viral load down so low that our best lab test can't even find it. At that point, a person is considered undetectable. And here is the absolute game changer. Mountains of scientific evidence have proven that when the virus is undetectable, it is also sexually untransmittable.
Let me just say that one more time because it is so important. Undetectable equals untransmittable. U equals U. This means a person with HIV who is on treatment and has an undetectable viral load has effectively zero risk of passing the virus to their sexual partners. This is a scientific fact, and it has completely transformed what it means to live with HIV.
Okay, so this medical progress is just incredible, right? But it's all part of a much bigger global story. So let's zoom out now and take a look at the ongoing fight against the epidemic worldwide. I mean, just look at these numbers. The progress we've made is staggering. Back in 2005, at the absolute peak of the crisis, 2 million people died from HIV-related causes. By 2023, that number had dropped by over 60%. That is more than 1 million lives saved every single year, all thanks to getting more people access to testing and treatment.
But while deaths are way down, the virus hasn't gone away. Today, there are nearly 40 million people around the globe living with HIV, so it's still a massive global health challenge that needs our attention and our resources.
And, as you can see, that challenge isn't spread out evenly. The WHO African region is hit the hardest by far, accounting for about 2/3 of all people living with HIV. It's a stark reminder of the deep inequalities in healthcare that still exist in our world.
But even with these challenges, there is so much hope for the future. Major players like the National Institutes of Health and the Gates Foundation are pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into research with one clear goal: find a cure. The scientific community has absolutely not given up on the dream of a world without HIV.
And that leaves all of us with a final, really crucial question. We have the science, we have the tools to manage HIV and to stop it from spreading. Treatment works, U equals U is a fact. So the path forward isn't just about what happens in a lab anymore. It's about us. It's about fighting stigma, making sure everyone can get care, and spreading this knowledge. The science has done its part. The next chapter? Well, that depends on us.
Discover Toronto in just 10 minutes. Check out our quick and insightful video on Toronto, where time echoes with love, loss, and rebirth, a powerful overview packed into just 10 minutes and 6 seconds. Want more? Explore our All Videos playlist featuring a variety of informative, entertaining, and educational content designed to spark curiosity and fuel your YouTube journey. Whether you're here to learn or be inspired, our videos are crafted to be trendy, engaging, and optimized to thrive in the YouTube algorithm.